for the Cowboys.
Indeed.
Roosters, Sharks, Eels and Broncos all have 12 points. Rabbitohs and Sea Eagles in 8th and 9th have 10 points. Then the Raiders, Warriors and Dragons all have 8 points. Titans and Knights have 6 points. Then West Tigers and Bulldogs are the bottom two with 4 points. I wanted to mention this, but I didn't know how to fit in. But it sort of fits in closest to the NRL, doesn't it? But PNG have appointed their new head coach ahead of the World Cup in the shape of Stanley Tepend, who succeeds Michael Marram. Tepend has been assistant coach to Marram, who resigned last month, for the last 6 years, so plenty of experience around the squad. They've also brought in NRL Premiership winning coach Shane Flanagan as the coaching consultant to assist Tepend. So, he's not going to be on his own in that role.
Indeed.
Shall we do these other games? Shall we rotate? So these are basically Sheffield's games in the Wheelchair Rugby League Challenge Trophy, because our Sheffield Wheelchair Rugby League correspondent Bruiser664 got in touch. So the first one was Sheffield Eagles 0, Woodland Warriors 32, and Sean said Sheffield kicked off the tournament with a tough game against the Southern Conference leaders, starting strong but ultimately unable to keep them out, with several tries coming from the Woodlands number 1.
In the next match, it was Sheffield Eagles 0, Dundee Dragons 8. Sheffield came out a lot stronger, keeping Dundee out for a long portion of the game and only conceding 2 tries against the Scottish internationals, but showing promising signs of improvement.
Then the Eagles played against the Gravesend Dynamite. It was Sheffield 4, Gravesend 24. Sheffield managed to hold Gravesend out for long stretches of the game, but they managed to break the line a few times. Highlight of the tournament so far came with Jack Johnson, where did the good people go, breaking through the line and dodging tackles to score his 3rd try for the Eagles.
And then it was the Eagles 0, Merseystorm 28 in the WHRL Challenge Trophy. A very feisty final game for Sheffield against the leaders of the Championship North, saw several people from both teams end up on the floor. Vicky Brooks' drop goal attempt just clipped the post, and a blistering line break from Sean Horton, good to get that in, was unfortunately not quite enough to get over the line, so Mersey came away with the win.
And I'm not quite sure how, given that they've only scored 1 try based on what Bruiser's told us so far. But, oh no, I was going to say, but Sheffield were in the semi-finals. They weren't. He just stayed and watched one of the semi-finals. Gravesend Dynamite against the Dundee Dragons. It was Gravesend Dynamite 32, Dundee Dragons 0 in the semi-final. And Sean said the two teams with the furthest to travel faced off in the first semi-final, which saw some good efforts from Dundee, but were unable to break through the Dynamite defence. And Gravesend were able to make better use of the full-size pitch and progress to the final against Mersey Storm. So yeah, mark people's cards. Anyway, anyone who's going to the Alam Arena for the double-header finals day in the Challenge Cup and Challenge Trophy, some people to watch out for there.
Definitely.
Okay, let's move on from results and start looking ahead to what might be as we make our predictions for round 13 of Super League. Super League round 13 kicks off on Thursday night in front of the Sky cameras. I mean, one of the highlight games always of the fixture list, isn't it? Warrington versus St Helens, or is it a lower table tied against the top of the table side? Saints' squad is basically Ashworth. They brought in Danny Hill to replace Junior Sambu, but it's neither here nor there. That I don't think either will be in the 17. Whereas Warrington, Daryl Powell's dropped Josh Charnley, and then Fulis and Walker are out with injury, but Gareth Widdop, Ellis Robson, and Luke Thomas, never heard of Luke Thomas, come in to the squad. So some changes for Warrington. Does that change your expectations away from a Saints win by how many?
Some changes, but not enough changes. No, it's Saints comfortably. Saints by 18.
I'm going to go Saints. I'll go Saints by 10, though. I feel like this Saints at the moment are going to go through a spell where they're not going to be super free-flowing with the injuries. Like, I mean, we didn't talk about Roby popping his finger back in. Surely he's not going to be 100%. But that was hard stuff. And then Lomax not being fully fit and stuff. They'll win, though. I'll go Saints by 10.
Okay.
Friday, 7:45 p.m, Huddersfield versus Toulouse. I suppose the question is, will Huddersfield rest their spine, and will that make it be a 2-score win rather than a 6-score win?
Yeah, it's probably not the worst game before a cup final, you would say. I can't see, even with some probable changes because of the week after, I can't see beyond Huddersfield. But yeah, Huddersfield by 8.
Yeah, I've gone Huddersfield by 10. I expect that Farge and Lola here won't play, and maybe Levi as well.
Fair enough.
But they might bring some of the other guys back in. So, yeah. Friday, 8 p.m, Leeds versus Wakefield. This is the first of 2 games on Friday night at 8 p.m. that I think are not that straightforward to pick. You know, it's sides next to each other in the league table in these 2 sides, 10th versus 11th. I'm going to let you go first.
Wakey need a response. I just think Leeds at home, even though they weren't great against Salford, but I'm going to stick with Leeds. Leeds by 2. It'll be tight.
I've gone Leeds by 4. I think it'll be tight too, and I don't think it'll be tight in a high scoring sense either. I think we might be preparing ourselves to talk about another game with a lot of errors and penalties and scrappy, but Leeds to scrap it out a little bit better. Then the televised game, Salford, who've bounced back with a big win, got the halfbacks back in combination, versus Castleford, who were on a little bit of a run of form, but like Rob pointed out, mostly with home wins rather than away wins. This is the Sky game on Friday night. Salford's comfortable win against Leeds has made this one be a bit more of a thought process for me, because otherwise I would have just said Cass seem to have, you know, they're not 100% every time, but they seem to be able to score games. I think this will be a close game, but a high-scoring game. And I just think Cass at the moment, with pace from Mamo and Gary, I think they might just edge it. Cass by 4.
I think it's tight. I've gone the other way. I think it might just be Salford. Salford by 2.
Fair enough. The Channel 4 game. Channel 4 are back and they will be gutted that Hull KR have stopped turning up. 12:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Hull KR versus Catalans. Like we said earlier, when this was picked, it would have been a set up for a cracker. But now, it's Catalans by how many, it feels like. I hope it isn't that. I hope it is an entertaining game and a bit more even, but I'm going Catalans by 12, but it could be Catalans by anything up to 20 or 30.
Yeah, it's no one but Catalan. Even if KR can find the spine and start playing, Catalan would still be favourites because they're the better team. Yeah, Catalan. I'm going to be quite depressive for KR fans. Catalan by 20 at least.
And then Saturday at 3 p.m, so all the games finished by Saturday afternoon. This one also in Hull. Hull FC versus Wigan. You've got to think that Wigan will have people like Field and Cust back in the side this week. They can't, and Bateman and Farrell. Cade Ellis will miss out, and I do wonder if one or two of the other middles might be kept out of things. But I think most of the French, I think, will get rested as well for this one. But that's not. It's weird to be saying French getting rested isn't going to be as big a miss as long as Marshall comes back in. I think, but Hull should be okay. I think Wigan can't go 2 weeks with resting so many players. It just destroys your momentum going into a cup final, I feel. You can't play scared. You've got Super League to play for as well. I'm hoping Wigan have enough players back and Wigan win by 8.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
I think it's a banana skin though.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're bringing back in the players that were out last week, and perhaps that some of those players who did play last week are going to get their rest now. But I still think Wigan are a better team. I don't think it'll be by much because obviously FC will probably give you quite a good game if you're struggling for troops a bit. Wigan by 6.
Yeah, I think the optimistic thing for Wigan is Hull FC still haven't sorted out their spine. And I think it did look like Chris Satai picked up a bit of a knock, didn't he? And obviously the Tiger King won't be playing because of his failed HIA. So, although he is, but he went to hospital for checks, but he came back straight away and is well. So that's a positive for Brad Fash. But yeah, I'm hopeful rather than expectant on this one. Women's Super League game of the week: York versus St Helens. That should be a good game.
You would hope that York could perform in a similar way to Leeds in terms of giving St Helens a bit of a game. You would hope. I don't know whether they're quite at that level, but I'd hope so.
That's Sunday at 12 p.m. I tell you what, though, Saints bringing Shona Hoyle in. It's just like an absolute extra dimension to the forward pack that they did not need.
Yeah, they don't need any more quality, do they?
Championship game of the week: York versus Halifax. It's third versus fourth, Sunday at 3 p.m. So that should be an interesting game, and they can't moan about the pitch when it's at their own stadium. The TV game is Sheffield versus Widnes. That's Monday night, 7:45 p.m. on Premier Sports. So, am I right in thinking is that at the Olympic Stadium? No, it's probably not. The Olympic Legacy Park. It's probably not, is it? It's probably not ready, is it?
It's probably at Doncaster, if I had to guess, but yeah. I don't know.
I wonder if we can find out.
I don't think it'll make any difference.
I think it's set up as an even game, that though.
Well, Widnes Sheffield are, a bit in and out. Widnes have obviously had a good win last week, but against a team that they would have expected to beat. I'd probably just edge Sheffield there, probably.
They're on the same amount of points, aren't they, in the league? So yeah,
they are close.
Home advantage, but then does Sheffield have home advantage? So yeah. League One game of the week: the R League game is Swinton versus Cornwall, Saturday at 2 p.m. So I think that's going to be a massacre. And then game of the week is Rochdale versus Doncaster. That's two of the sides fighting with the likes of Swinton for the promotion places. That's Saturday at 3 p.m. So a few more Saturday games again there. Please get your fan views in on all of those games and any other games of rugby league across the world that you see in the next 7 days for us to talk about on the next Super League pod. Look out for links to the Google form over the week. And if the game you want to talk about isn't on there, then put it on there. Use the other option. Good stuff. Okay, that's our guesses done for next week. Let's move into just wrapping up this 341st edition of the Super League Pod.
Right, it's time to wrap the show up. And this week I've written a quiz for you.
Good.
So, because you asked me to, so I did.
Well, yeah, because I didn't know I was going to have to put 10 different news stories from EFC into the rundown half an hour before the show, but I kind of guessed because he's been late the last few weeks. He needs to get him in earlier.
Get him in early, yeah.
Yeah.
Get your speculation early. But yes, in honour of Mark Campbell's suggestion of a 14-team Super League, and I use honour in the broadest possible terms, I thought I would ask you some questions about the last time we had a 14-team Super League.
Okay.
And we decided that it wasn't affordable. So, anyway, yes. So this is about.
I'd rather have 14 than 10. I'd say that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Yeah. This is about 2014.
Remember it well. It was the first year of the Super League pod.
First year of the show, so this is a bit of a test of your memory as well. To see
I
what
don't
you
remember it that
from
well.
time.
That's a problem.
Well, okay, there might be some educated guesses. So I've got 3 questions, very basic questions, and I've got a clue. So if you can get it without the clue, I think 2 points. And if you need the clue, that's a point, I would say.
Okay.
Okay, so who am I? Who was the top try scorer in 2014?
The top try scorer in Super League in 2014? That was before that was before Cass were scoring for fun down their left edge. It was the year when Saints won the title with no halfbacks.
It was.
So I